Hey, welcome back to another edition of the Supply Chainy podcast. I am your host, Nathan Cheney, and today we're going to talk about freight brokerage and a little bit about networking and growing a community on LinkedIn and otherwise with someone who's got a great network and community built on LinkedIn, and that's Lida, who is the founder of Freight Freedom. And I do run a brokerage as well. Supply Chainy has a transportation brokerage. So we'll be able to talk shop a little bit here. But I also just want to dive into who Lida is, a little bit about her background and her experience in the industry, and just see if we can get some nuggets of wisdom. So, Lida, thanks for joining today and sharing some time with us today. Can you kind of just, for those who don't know you, give a quick introduction of yourself and kind of how we got to this conversation today?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Lida Hakobyan. I'm a first generation immigrant. I moved to America 2016, and my first job was in America being a over the road truck driver because I couldn't find any other job.
Hmm.
The fact that I didn't have experience in America was holding me back, and my husband back then, he was a truck driver, so I was like just sitting home alone, not knowing anyone. So I was like, let me just see if I can get my CDL. And the funny thing is that our next door neighbor, she was a US Express, um,
Hmm.
US Express truck driver. When she met her husband, she convinced her husband to become a CDL driver, and now they were driving a, team
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
all across America. And she was one of my biggest motivators and examples. She was the one like, why are you sitting home and alone? You can go travel. This is an amazing opportunity. And I say, yeah, I mean, let me try. And next day I was in DMV. I got this book. I read it for 2 days. I went and I passed all the exams from the first trial. Now I got my permit. I can drive with someone who already has his CDL. And I drove 2 weeks with my back husband, and he taught me. I also watched a lot of YouTube videos doing pre-trip inspection and all the terminology and stuff. So
Hmm.
that was the beginning of my career in logistics. And I think that was a most amazing experience, just like traveling and seeing firsthand, experiencing everything. It was just like life changing.
That's interesting. What good fortune to have a neighbor that turned out to be an inspiration and I guess a help for you. Um,
Yes.
so you said that was 2016. Can you back up to a little bit more of who was Lida as a child? What was your upbringing like? And when you were thinking about growing up one day, what did you want to be? Maybe an actress or something.
Yes, yes. Lida, in her childhood, this nerdy girl that was reading like maybe 100 books during summer vacation because back
Wow.
then we didn't have cell phone, we didn't have like these fancy playgrounds. Like all we have is book or playing outdoors with neighbors' kids. So
Hmm.
I was this nerdy girl. I was having a stone collection. I was going to piano class, painting. I was just like entertaining myself with like art. And you're right.
Uh-huh.
Actually, I was wanting to be an actress, and I was an actress for Procter and Gamble. I got this opportunity one time, and yeah, so I guess childhood dreams come true. Maybe I didn't become like Julia Roberts, but at least I got my, opportunity just in a miraculous way, not trying to kind of go to actress school or anything like that, but just opportunity came, and, I got that luck, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, talk us a little about, so now you kind of have this presence, you have this brand, you've got this thing going on. How did you make that journey from kind of driving with your husband and whatnot to where you are today? What kind of decisions did you make and what inspired you to kind of go forward with what you're doing today?
Yes, that's amazing question. So when I was driving, I opened a YouTube channel actually. I opened YouTube channel twice and then I deleted because I was not confident like on my speaking. I didn't know like editing and stuff. But I knew that it is important. And when I got into this freight brokering, and I got introduced to LinkedIn. I knew that this is a place that I have to put all of my efforts to grow my freight brokerage business, my booker business, and I started to post, connect to people, and just trying to be consistent and just collaborate, network. I just went there knowing nothing, honestly. I took a course, I watched some videos, but the main thing I think was just like I knew that this is the right place to be. I knew that this is a way to grow my book of business because I tried like cold calling. It was tough for me. That's LinkedIn and face-to-face visitations has been like my biggest ways to find customer. That's why I was like so passionate and I was taking it so seriously to build that brand on LinkedIn.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
You said face to face. So, I think a lot of folks that are in our networks, we do a lot of LinkedIn type stuff. We watch YouTube videos to learn and whatnot. But I'm always interested people who do face to face type engagements and networking. Where do you go for those opportunities? What part of the U.S. are you in, and like what organizations or groups or conferences do you typically participate in?
Yes, I am lucky in that way that I am now in South Carolina, and it is one of the good states for manufacturing. We have auto manufacturers, we have BMW, Michelin, and a lot of smaller manufacturing companies who support these bigger companies. So I have a lot of companies that I can just go visit within like 60-mile radius in North Carolina, South Carolina, even Georgia. So I am like 1 hour away from North Carolina, Charlotte also. So I sometimes go to Charlotte. I just go visit conferences. I go for networking, and of course, it is also great way. But I didn't find like a great customer from conferences. I would say that my biggest customers came from visiting and from LinkedIn. Yes,
I
I just
see.
go to manufacturing warehouses and just go to the office or just go straight to inside of like the operation and just talk firsthand
Wow.
to the person that handling the operations.
That's a skill and an ability that I admire greatly because I don't have that same sense of ability to just go and be so forward, I guess. I very much feel from a sales perspective, right? I always have this I thing in the back of my head like I'm bothering somebody, right? Like they have something better to do, this sort of thing. Like how do you mentally, like how do you approach kind of
Well,
the sales
really, like
process?
mine is like cold calling. If I call someone and they are busy, they don't want to talk, I think that I'm bothering them. But when I go to visit, actually, I think that I'm brightening their day. Like they are bored
Okay.
in that, in that warehouse or whatever they're doing in front of their computer. Like I always, when I go, I take like cupcake or sometimes pizza or some sweets
Uh-huh,
and
uh-huh.
like they are happy to talk. No one like was mean. They were very nice and happy. They actually like invite you if they are interested. They introduce their operation, right? We exchange emails and we follow up. So yeah, I had a really amazing experience with face to face. Of course, it is time consuming and it is limited because like I cannot visit, a lot of states, but that's why I combine, LinkedIn for all America and visiting for South Carolina, North Carolina.
I see, I see.
Hmm.
Um, let's talk a little about like what freight freedom is. It looks like you've been working at that for a little over 2 years. Can you talk a little about what that organization does?
Yes, well, Freight Freedom is a brokerage, but I don't operate it because I'm an agent. So because I don't operate it, I moved some military freight with that, like with U.S. Army. But other than that, I didn't do much. So I changed it like as a like more educational company as of right now, educating, training, coaching, personal branding, newsletters. Yes, that's what I want to focus as of right now with Freight Freedom, and we will see what the future holds. I'm
I see.
happy with with the company I work with as a freight broker agent. I have two little kids. I don't, want too much headache in my life, like back office accounting. So
Right.
that's why it is, very convenient for me to just have this already established company to work with.
I agree. I follow
Mhm.
this similar model
Mhm.
myself as well, so that don't have to worry about the back office sort of pieces and can just focus on operations and engaging, with clients. Um,
Yes.
can you talk a little about what your, just what your observations have been of the trucking and the brokerage industry over the years as you've been involved and engaged in it? Any insights or words of wisdom of how you've seen it evolve over time?
Well, what my observation was like from 2016 when I was driving, the market always shifts. That's what I, observed. Like it has been already 9 years and we already had like two ups and two downs, right? Sometimes
Hmm.
it takes longer to recover. Sometimes COVID happens and it just like recovers really fast, right? Now it just dropped, and it takes forever to recover. But I know that it is gonna be better. It is just stages that, we have to stay here and wait for the good time. And when it is a good time, we have to get prepared for the bad times. That has been my observation. And when I was a truck driver, of course, I was not involved in freight brokerage and fleet management and stuff. But now, when I observe, I feel like there are more female drivers on the road. I have seen more because when I was driving, there were not too many. And, now I see more females. And even in like freight brokerage and dispatching and fleet management, I see more females, which is like amazing, I think.
Right, right.
Mm.
Uh, does having that experience and husband, I guess, that drives and having that experience behind the wheel, how does it make you different? I guess as a freight broker, than others. I imagine it makes a difference.
Yes, of course, it makes a difference because I can talk about the track, I can talk about my experience. It builds more trust and more credibility because like they might see like a beautiful girl and they might think that like I don't have brain or I don't know what I'm talking, but actually, I am not afraid to get my hands dirty, I am not afraid of hard work and also like being in that feel like from tracking, dispatching, fleet management, freight brokering, it gives me many connections from all parts. I have like amazing truck driver friends, fleet manager friends, right? And as we know in this business, like who you know is very important. Relationships are very important. Or like just simple. When I just started to do heavy haul as a freight broker, because as a driver, I was a reefer driver. Now, like I had this friend and he has been like a heavy haul expert. He has been like doing RGN for
Yeah.
like over a decade. So whenever I was having this, big lot, I would call him. He would let me know like what equipment I need, right? If I need permits or stuff. Just having people around you that know something that you don't know that you can like call confidently and ask questions. I think it really makes a difference because no matter what trainings you take, no matter how much you learn, there is always something that you can, learn from someone else. And of course, we all know that everything comes with experience. No matter how much you learn, sometimes they will have an equipment or load that you have to do more research. You have to ask questions to get it right. So, yes, I
Yeah.
think that was the main thing.
And I think that you demonstrated talking about reading 100 books over summer breaks and whatnot is that you are one of those people who will go and find the answer, that you are not scared of teaching yourself and learning everything that you
No,
need to be successful, right?
Nathan, if I tell you how I learned English, like it was a like book like this, even like thicker.
Uh-huh.
And if I want to understand what means supply chain, or I mean, there was no supply chain, or like convince, what does it mean convince? I have to go to letter C with
Uh-huh.
this book and find that letter, and
Yeah.
find that word. What does it mean in Armenian? So I can learn English.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah. And I was reading like first romantic books and stuff, but when I was, because I mean, Armenian books are like romantic or historical books.
Uh-huh.
And I was also reading like, international, like Russian, I would say, greatest like writers. But when I learned English and when I find out about all of these great, best-selling authors, even during university, I would read books from American authors. I always loved reading books, and I even read books that Donald Trump wrote, and he was just a businessman. He was not even like president,
Right.
I read like this 7 habits of highly successful people. Like when I was back in Armenia, and I didn't even have an idea that I'm gonna move to America. So I would just
Yeah.
find these, top books from the world, and I would just read when I had time. So I think that was, very important to change my mindset, because when you are young, whatever you read, you believe, because you don't have like limiting beliefs. And
Hmm.
these books are very like motivational, it's very kind of inspiring. And I think that was one of the reasons that I had, big dreams, and I was not afraid like to take risks and challenges.
A question that I like to ask a lot of my guests is
Yes.
there one book that you kind of prefer, that you point people to, that's like your go-to book, that's either like your favorite or that you recommend people to read the most?
Yes, I think that's the power of subconsciousness mind. That's a book that I have read few times, and sometimes I
Hmm.
will just put and I will just listen when I am like sleeping. I think that was a book that like stick to me. How
Hmm.
important is, subconscious mind and everything in between.
Huh. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what maybe one of the things that we can connect books and learning and education with the kinds of things that you offer, as with your kind of coaching approach for freight brokers. Can you talk a little bit about what that process is like? Like if someone reaches out to you and says, "Hey, how does that start? Do they say, I want to be a freight broker, and you kind of go from there, or are they already a freight broker and looking to improve? Like, how does that work?"
Yes, that's a great question. So, because I understood how important is our limiting beliefs and just like our beliefs, when I do coaching, especially the elite mentorship, that when I do 101, the first class, we just go over like the mindset part. Like how do you imagine yourself as a business owner? What are your goals? What are your whys? What are your reasons, right? Like, and then I ask them questions to find out what are their limiting beliefs so we can work. I even like with ladies, especially because ladies kind of trust me on this. I even like work on their appearance, how to like present yourself as a lady in business, how to go meet these customers, how to network on conferences, right? Because like the way you present yourself is also very important. So first class, we just go over mindset, appearance, what are their goals, and how we can, work not only just like, strategy as a freight broker, but the whole, So I think that's what I do. Then, of course, we go to prospecting, sales, and strategy. But I think if I don't have the right mindset, like no matter how much strategy or how much technology and how much I learn, if I don't believe, I'm scared, I'm not confident, I don't believe that I have, to do it and I can do it, it will not work. Because, there is a saying, my recruiter, he already died, but he was one of the persons that changed my, life. He would say that freight brokering is not easy. It is simple, but it is not easy, right? But this
Hmm.
is not easy part is the mindset part, because this is like not a very hard like construction job or IT or I don't know what, right? We just need
Uh-huh,
to
uh-huh.
make phone calls, connect. It is not as hard, but it is also very, mindset, I think, related.
I see. I see.
Mhm.
there's a big shift in using AI in brokerage and in all industries now, right?
Yes.
Everyone's talking about it. And so I'm kind of curious from your perspective, how is it kind of influencing the types of work that you do? And are you recommending people use it, or you use it yourself any, or are you kind of like traditional and relationships and not robots? I don't know. What's your
Yes.
take on that?
Well, actually, I am doing a research. So, God willing, I will, hopefully start a new business like
Mhm.
related to AI. And I have done a lot of research. I think that's one of our limiting beliefs, which I also had, that like AI is too robotic. AI is not gonna do our jobs the way we do. But we have to work on that because uh, the point of AI is not like replacing us, but the point of AI is we knowing how to use it and implementing on the staff and sales process, right? Customer service process, invoicing, accounting, and everything in between that as a human we can work mostly on building relationship. Yes, AI cannot do that, or
Mhm.
networking, right, on working on the stuff that humans only can do, but these automatic tasks that AI can do even better sometimes than we can of course delegate. And another thing was like I was struggling with, and I know that all business owners struggle, is delegating. So I think that delegating AI is way more easier than delegating to a person. And I
Mhm.
think AI has like higher IQ than people. So I think AI is gonna change everything. And there is this guy, a very famous guy, and he said that people first they don't take risk, and when the masses start taking action, it takes few years. And he was saying that AI will start like really 2031. So if we start adapting now, between now and 2031, we will be early adapters and we will benefit it the most. And I truly believe, because this guy, whatever he says, like I just believe whatever he says.
I see.
Yeah.
I think if I were to
What do you
paraphrase what
think?
you said a moment ago, I think I saw something to it basically said, let computers and robots do what they do best, and people and humans do what they do best, right? And leave the
Yes,
computer work to the computers.
of
And
course.
so I think that's kind of what I was hearing there in your response.
Yes.
That it's like a tool, like any other tool, and like a lot of folks say that if you are skilled and you are comfortable using those tools, then it gives you an advantage in the
Yep.
marketplace.
It is the same like a CRM, right? Like before we were having this paper book and writing stuff on paper. Now we have the CRM and no one uses this paper, or
Hmm.
very
Hmm.
few. So everything is just like progressing. And I think AI is now in the beginning of progressing stage.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Mhm.
Maybe one last question. Because you have kind of grown a big following on LinkedIn and YouTube, and you're very big in the social media world. Any recommendations to folks that are looking to grow networks in LinkedIn and use it to grow their business?
Sure. I think the biggest thing is being authentic, not trying to be like everyone else, being consistent as much as you can, and also like seeing what things work in social media that you can adapt to your personality, to your business, and doing the things that already work. And yeah, and just doing it without like worrying what people might think, if I will
Hmm.
get like or if I will not get like or whatever, just doing it.
I see. I see.
Mhm.
Good. Great advice. Great advice.
Mhm.
Um, well, we're going to do a fun sort of different thing today where we're going to change roles here, I guess. So um, you'll be on the other side of the microphone, I guess, and asking the question. So I'm really excited about the opportunity to be on the other side of this whole ordeal. But thanks for coming on and joining on to my podcast for today. Any last words? How can people get in touch with you if they heard something that resonated with them today? What's the best way to reach out?
Yes, I think the best way is reaching out through LinkedIn. That's where I am active mostly, and that's where businesses happen. So you can reach out to me, Lida Hakobyan, my name and last name.
All right. All right.
Mhm.
Well, thanks for coming on and sharing some of your experience and expertise with us.
Thank you so much, Nathan. I will see you in a few minutes. Bye.